Hey guys, what's going on? I wanted to make a video of, driving the car around, giving my impressions on it. A couple of people had requested, hey, can you kind of do a driving video of the car? So, let's just go ahead and do it. So this is the IS350. It's an F Sport model, so I'll kind of, show you guys how, kind of talk about, what I like, what I don't like, how it compares to the 328 I had. So, yeah, let's jump right into it. So the main reason, people also ask, what about the 250 versus the 350? That's a debate for kind of a different video. So, I haven't really driven the 250 myself. The 350 is the only one I drove, and I feel like, it's not something that I would enjoy much anyway, especially coming from the 2-liter turbo I had in my 3 Series. The 3.5 V6 in this car is a lot nicer, though. I was just waiting so I can merge onto the road here. So yeah, there's a couple, why did I pick this exact car and this exact trim? I did want the, I wanted the F350 for sure when I was test driving the car, because, like I said, it seemed like what I like, in terms of power and performance out of a car. Fuel economy wasn't such a huge deal to me. I do a lot of highway anyway, so it doesn't really affect overall for me. And then F Sport, because I had the Sport line in my 3 Series, and I really do like the firmer suspension and all the little bits and pieces you got with the F Sport. And plus the styling, I like the front end styling a little bit more too. Even though you lose the fog lights, I like it more. But yeah. So driving around town, this car is actually really nice and relaxing. It's not very it doesn't feel high strung or something that's speeds up real quick or anything, I mean, it has good acceleration, but not like it's, what I'm trying to say here, it's like it's not very nippy or anything where it's oh my god, get up and go. So it's just a little bit more relaxed in that term when you're just driving around town in comfort or eco mode, or normal mode, I guess, in this car. When you put it into sport, yeah, it does make a huge difference, but I do like the fact that daily driving around town or on the highway, it's just very relaxed, very quiet, kind of, like the classic Lexus type driving style, you know what I mean? The stereo system on this guy, I have the Mark Levinson system. It sounds really, really nice. I didn't have I didn't have the Harman Kardon in my 3 Series, so don't know how it compares to that, but it does sound pretty nice, it just sounds pretty nice in general, to be honest. This guy in, and I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the engine is really nice, quiet, and composed, which is something I also really do enjoy. Like, it's a very refined car to drive in terms of a daily driver, especially with the 3.5-liter V6. There's a lot of power in this car, so you don't really have to give it much gas to get up and go. It just kind of does. Steering feel in this car, it's normal mode, it is weighted a little bit better than it was in the 3 Series, because the 3 Series, and whoever's driven it in comfort mode, it's very, very light. This one is, it has a little bit more weight to it, and you turn the wheel, it does, responsiveness is about the same too, so it's overall a great steering system. You put it in a sport, obviously, just becomes a lot more precise. The weight goes up, so just like it does in the 3 Series, because the 3 Series, referring to the F30 that I had, the steering in that car only felt really, really nice when it was in Sport or Sport Plus mode. Here it kind of feels good no matter which mode you're in. But yeah, road noise is at a minimal, partially also I'm guessing is due to this car does not have front flat tires. It has Bridgestone Turanza tires on it. Also, they are, on the F Sport at least, they are 225 in the front and 255 in the rear, so it does also grip really nicely, going around corners and things. One thing that was also kind of weird for me, I had kind of already gotten used to having, auto start stop in my 328. So, waiting at a stoplight, obviously this car doesn't do that, and I was like, well, that's kind of weird, the engine's staying on. Just random thing. The way you guys are hearing it, I haven't really done any sort of performance mods or anything to this car. It is bone stock. I mean, it's stock height, stock everything. The only thing I did was add my little radar detector here and, tint the windows and add some LEDs around, but that's about it. That was a cop. I wonder what he's doing. Nah, he's going over there. The sound deadening of this car is also nice. Getting into that, there's actually a big rig right next to me, but the sound's not really coming in like it normally would in other cars. But let's speak about power. When you step on it, the engine does definitely wake up. Like, I'm gonna get on the freeway in a bit so you guys can really hear it, but when you're actually driving this car hard, it becomes a lot of fun. The engine sounds great, the steering, the transmission, everything is great. Which also, kind of transitioning to my next point, this one has the 8-speed. Any IS350 with rear-wheel drive is going to have the 8-speed auto, not the 6-speed like the rest of them have. In terms of gear ratios, if you look at 7 and 8, they're about the same as, gear 5 and 6 on the 6-speed. But I guess the extra 2 gears in between means, it's a shorter gearbox. So, you get a little bit more punchier acceleration, which is actually really nice. And it's a lot more responsive, on the highway. So I'll kind of show you what to put in the sport mode and manual mode here, and then you guys can get the ideas. So yeah, this car definitely wakes up as soon as you step on it. I'm gonna take a turn here too. Getting on the highway right over here. And as soon as I put it back into normal and back into drive, the car just immediately quiets down and becomes a lot more relaxed. And when you're cruising on the highway, that's just what you want. Let me get this car a little bit more up to speed. And it's relatively low in the rev band. When you're driving on the highway, even at 80 miles an hour, you're at just a little touch above 2,000 RPM, which is actually really nice. It means the car is really quiet, relaxed, not really going anywhere, or it's not loud or anything. It's easier to drive, I guess, but it doesn't lose speed easily either. But if you step on it, it does actually accelerate and respond relatively quickly. More so depending on which mode you are, obviously. Now, unlike the 3 Series, which is something I noticed as well, the 3 Series, the transmission itself had both. You had a sport mode in both the transmission and the drive selector. Here, it's only on the drive selector because on a BMW, when you shift it over to the manual shifting mode, initially it goes into sport mode, and when you hit the paddles or hit this, then it will transition over into the manual mode. Here, when you shift it over, it's in manual mode at all times. Not really a big deal because you can just click it over to sport and get the same effect as it is. Interestingly enough, too, if you guys, somebody you want the firmer suspension and the heavier steering of sport without all the throttle touchiness or the holding the transmission and anything, put into Sport Plus in snow mode, then it actually just becomes normal mode with the more responsive steering column, I guess. The transmission in the 328i was definitely a little bit sharper. The 8-speed ZF versus this thing. Construction. Crap. Yeah, so my 3 Series definitely had a better transmission. I think in terms of eagerness to downshift, like that car would just, you put your foot down, it would just bang into a different gear and just start going ahead. This car, it takes a couple extra seconds to kick down, but then once the power comes on, it easily catches up just fine. What else? Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I can mention. Turn into Sport Plus again so you guys can. Yeah, you guys can see that this car is very, very, very eager when it's in a sport mode. Suspension also in this car is something I've really been enjoying. It's got the adaptive variable suspension, so it's nice and comfortable when you're just cruising on the highway. When you're really pushing the car, then it firms up and becomes very, very not very, very just becomes very planted. That's what I'm trying to say. And this car isn't a lightweight car. I think the rear-wheel drive one is about 3,500 pounds, so it's not a lightweight, but not many sports sedans are anyway. But the intake sound in this car is definitely also very addicting. In the first couple of weeks I had the car, I was just pushing it really hard just to, hear that sound, and it does sound amazing. Yeah. Overall, though, this car is an absolute joy to drive no matter what kind of environment you're in. And that was the main reason I picked it over, getting another 3 Series. To be frank, even after, I daily drove a 3 Series for almost a year, as you guys know, before I was wrecked in the accident. But, driving this car, it's just, I think Lexus has beat BMW at its own game. And, some people are going to doubt that. But here's my response to that. You guys have got to drive this thing to really see how good it just is. I was never a Lexus fan much until I drove this car, and go figure, now I own one. But anyways, yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you guys have any questions on the car or any specific videos you'd like to see, and I'll see what I can do. Other than that, thanks for watching guys. See you next time.